Have you ever revealed personal information about yourself only to regret it a short while later? In a society when transparency and openness are valued highly, consider this: might it be that certain things we choose to keep private actually make our lives richer and more genuine? We'll look at how keeping some aspects of our lives hidden might improve our relationships, our prosperity, as well as our peace of mind. So stay tuned. If you've ever been compelled to reveal more than you're comfortable with, or if you're interested in learning how a little privacy may go a long way, you may discover a viewpoint that modifies your understanding of your digital footprint and everyday encounters. Now let's get started. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends about this video. I urge you to watch it through to the end without missing a moment. You never know what passage will lead to a significant shift in your music life. It's crucial to keep in mind that, although if our past hardships have surely shaped who we are, it's not always helpful to go over and discuss every little detail every time we talk about them. The renowned Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said that you control your thoughts, not external circumstances. When you accept this, you'll find strength. This quotation sums up so perfectly the importance of living in the now and appreciating our progress rather than getting bogged down in the struggles of the past. Yes, our past struggles, whether they be setbacks, defeats, or obstacles, have shaped who we are now and have strengthened our fortitude, our comprehension of life, and our compassion for others. But what really counts is the wisdom we derive from them, not the experiences themselves. As another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, noted, "For challenges fortify the intellect in the same way that labor fortifies the body." This viewpoint motivates us to see our past setbacks as a type of emotional and mental conditioning that will better prepare us for obstacles in the future. It's well recognized in psychology that dwelling on the past can keep us stuck in a negative thought loop and make it harder for us to appreciate where we are now and the progress we've made. Greek Stoic philosopher Epictetus counseled against daydreaming and dwelling on the past. Focus your thoughts on the here and now. By keeping our attention on the here and now, we can positively utilize the knowledge from the past to enhance our current situation and mental health. Talking about our own objectives might have both benefits and drawbacks. Sharing our objectives can, on the one hand, help us feel accountable and encouraged. However, it may also result in unforeseen issues. Stoic philosophy offers insightful advice on this subject, as do ideas from Western philosophy and psychology. The Stoics, and Epictetus in particular, stress the need of concentrating on our controllable circumstances. "We can listen twice as much as we say," he explained, "because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth." This implies that sharing only relevant information is wise, particularly when it comes to our individual objectives. We can maintain control over our plans and reduce the possibility of outside intervention, such as copying or sabotage, by keeping some plans to ourselves. Another well-known Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, cautioned us against our disclosures. He was a strong proponent of action over words. Don't waste any more time debating what makes a good man. He claimed that this illustrates the need of acting on our objectives rather than merely talking about them. By doing this, we allow our accomplishments to speak for themselves, shocking and motivating people with what we have achieved as opposed to what we intend to do psychologically. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, echoed a similar sentiment when he said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." This highlights the importance of action over intention. When we share our goals too broadly, we might become overly attached to the image of our ambitions rather than the work needed to achieve them. It's a phenomenon known as social reality, where talking about our intentions gives us a premature sense of completeness. Aristotle, one of the great philosophers of the Western tradition, also had views that, with this idea, he believed in the concept of potentiality and actuality, and that the true value of a thing is in what it can become, not just what it is. This applies to our goals too. By nurturing them internally and allowing them to grow through our actions, we fulfill their potential rather than just talking about them. be your happiness. When it comes to happiness, it's essential to understand that it's a state of being that doesn't require external validation or explanation. This concept is echoed in both Stoic philosophy and modern psychology, emphasizing that true happiness is a personal experience and that its expression doesn't need justification from others. Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches the development of self-control and fortitude as a means to overcome destructive emotions, offers valuable insights on this topic. Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once said that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This statement highlights that happiness is an internal state governed by our thoughts and perceptions rather than something that needs to be constantly displayed or proved to others. Similarly, Epictetus, another Stoic thinker, believed that we have control over our minds and can choose our responses to external events. He suggested that our reactions are not the events themselves. Define our state of happiness by following this line of thought. Showing happiness through a simple smile or positive demeanor can be enough to influence others positively without the need for elaborate explanation or justifications in the realm of psychology. Carl Jung, a notable figure, also had perspectives aligning with this idea. He once stated that the word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. This underscores the natural balance of emotions and suggests that expressing happiness need not be an elaborate display, but a genuine reflection of one's current state of being. Aristotle, a great philosopher from the Western tradition, talked about the concept of eudaimonia, often translated as happiness or welfare. He proposed that true happiness comes from fulfilling one's potential and living a life of virtue. In this view, happiness is more about being true to oneself and living in accordance with one's values than something to be constantly proven or displayed to others. Or relationships privacy. The importance of maintaining privacy in our romantic relationships is a concept deeply rooted in both ancient philosophy and modern psychology. This idea revolves around the principle that certain aspects of our personal lives, particularly romantic relationships, benefit from being shielded from public scrutiny or excessive external input. Stoicism is a philosophy that values self-control and emotional resilience, offer valuable insights on this topic. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control. He advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it as it applies to relationships." This means living out your relationship authentically and privately, rather than constantly discussing it or seeking external validation or advice. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic figure, believed in the virtues of self-restraint and discretion. He once said, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." This can be interpreted in the context of relationships as finding beauty and value in private moments. From a psychological standpoint, the silent, unseen experiences that couples have are similar to the peaceful, alone times spent outside under the stars. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung emphasized the importance of personal experience and how it is interpreted. According to him, the encounter of two personalities is akin to the interaction of two chemical substances. In the event of a reaction, both parties undergo transformation. This implies that relationships are intensely intimate, life-changing events that can be weakened or changed by an excessive amount of external influence. Aristotle and other Western philosophers have discussed several facets of private life. Aristotle was a proponent of pris, or practical knowledge, which entails choosing wisely in intimate situations, such as romantic relationships. This common-sense advice would advise us to exercise caution while disclosing too much about our love relationships, placing an emphasis on tact and consideration. Furthermore, considering Socrates' reputation for probing questions, it's possible that he would support a thoughtful approach to discussing our relationship-related experiences. In the context of relationship privacy, he is renowned for having argued that an unexamined existence is not worth living. This could be taken to mean that people are being urged to think carefully about the reasons and effects of disclosing personal information. 5 financial status Stoic philosophies provide insightful viewpoints on this issue by emphasizing self-control, personal ethics, and emotional resilience. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus allegedly claimed that having few wants rather than many large belongings is what makes one wealthy. This insightful quote emphasizes the idea that genuine prosperity and contentment originate from within, not from our outward appearance. As a result, it is not only needless to flaunt or overtly disclose our financial situation, but it also runs against to the Stoic quest of inner richness and peace. One such well-known Stoic philosopher was Marcus Aurelius, who valued character over wealth and emphasized the virtue of modesty. According to him, a person who lives in harmony with the cosmos also lives in harmony with himself. This implies that contentment and being in line with one's own principles are the keys to finding peace and harmony, rather than seeking approval from others or flaunting one's financial situation. Psychologically speaking, disclosing too much about our financial circumstances can result in unfavorable social dynamics. Renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung highlighted the intricacy of interpersonal interactions and the deliberate intentions that underpin them. In the context of financial disclosure, he made the point that everything that annoys us about other people might help us understand ourselves better. This implies that the way other people respond to our financial condition may say more about them than it does about us, which could put us in circumstances where our wealth, or lack thereof, is used against us or evaluated unfairly. In addition, the question of how wealth affects social standing and personal pleasure has long been discussed in Western philosophy. For example, Aristotle talked about the idea of eudaimonia, which is frequently rendered as happiness or flourishing. He made the argument that leading a moral life is more important to true pleasure than having a lot of money. This supports the notion that a person's identity or social connections shouldn't be primarily shaped by their financial situation. Trust in friendships. The Stoic emphasis on virtue and restraint provides insightful explanations of why preserving trust is essential. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, according to a Stoic philosopher, so that we might listen more and speak less. This emphasizes how important it is to listen well and maintain confidence. When a friend confides in us, they are putting their trust in our integrity, and when we uphold this trust, we honor both the friend and our own moral standards. Another Stoic figure, Marcus Aurelius, talked on how a person's deeds speak louder than their words when describing their character. He counseled against squandering any more time debating the ideals of a good man in the context of friendships and trust. This translates to deliberately upholding privacy as a way to show integrity. It is not enough to just say that we are trustworthy. From a psychological standpoint, our genuine selves are exposed by our deeds, like protecting a friend's secret. Renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung highlighted the importance of personal relationships and the nuanced dynamics that exist within them. According to his theory, when 2 personalities come into contact, it's similar to the transformation of both into something more trustworthy if there is any kind of reaction. This implies that all of a friendship's interactions, even how private information is handled, have an impact on how that friendship develops. In Western philosophy, the need of integrity and trust in interpersonal relationships is frequently discussed. Aristotle wrote a great deal on friendship and virtues. In his Nicomachean Ethics, he proposed that respect for each other's moral integrity and reciprocal benevolence are essential components of a genuine friendship. In this sense, keeping things secret is a way to show your pals that you value their privacy and independence while strengthening your friendship. Furthermore, considering his reputation for using an ethical inquiry process, Socrates would probably support the idea that self-reflection is crucial to our interactions with friends. In the framework of friendship and trust, he famously said that a life without reflection is not worth living. This would entail regularly evaluating our deeds to make sure they are consistent with our beliefs and ideals, particularly in regards to preserving confidence. The idea of sticking to one's moral principles in the face of social pressure is central to both Stoic philosophy and the larger field of Western philosophy, and psychology. This concept highlights the significance of sticking to one's fundamental values and convictions in the face of outside pressures or fads. The Stoic school of thought, which emphasizes virtue, restraint, and fortitude, has a lot to say about this. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus highlighted the value of personal autonomy and freedom. According to him, the only worthwhile objective in life is freedom, which can only be attained by ignoring factors outside of our control. When this is applied to personal principles, it implies that genuine freedom and integrity result from upholding one's convictions in the face of opposition from the outside world. One such Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor who supported living by one's beliefs was Marcus I. "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be," the writer stated. This straightforward guidance serves as a potent reminder that upholding one's morals requires more action than discussion. From the standpoint of Western philosophy, we might influence others to follow our example by living up to our principles. Here, Aristotle's idea of eudaimonia, which is frequently interpreted as thriving or well-being, belongs. He held that realizing one's potential and leading a life of virtue are the paths to true happiness and contentment. This is consistent with the idea of living a life that is real and fulfilling by adhering to one's particular ideals. Prominent psychologist Carl Jung agreed that personal development and uniqueness are important. Being able to discover your true self is the gift of a lifetime, according to him. This remark suggests that psychological well-being is mostly dependent on one's own authenticity, which is in line with the idea of staying true to oneself and one's principles. The well-known proverb of Socrates, "Know thyself," emphasizes how crucial self-awareness is to leading a moral life. A cornerstone of Socrates' philosophy is the understanding and observance of one's own principles, which suggests that moral integrity and personal authenticity are interwoven. Remember that the greatest strength comes from leading a life that is consistent with your inner values and beliefs as we come to the end of this journey through the knowledge of keeping a balanced and genuine existence. Let us be steadfast pillars of our own truth, standing tall amidst the waves in a world that is always attempting to sway us. Should this message resonate with you, I urge you to delve deeper into it. Simply select the playlist to explore more debates and ideas that can enlighten and enhance your journey. Never forget that every genuine step you take will get you closer to a life full of meaning and purpose. I appreciate you joining me on this adventure. Remain steadfast and true, and let's keep developing as a team. Thank you so much for watching Stoic Energy.